This year would have been like my first full year of recruiting in the spring, going into the summer. Because like this time last year, actually, I was playing in Canada, in the NBL Canada. We were finishing up our season around this time, going into the playoffs, and that's kind of actually when I had accepted the job. KB, the head coach Kenny, was interviewing for the job during this time, and he didn't get it. He didn't get the job until probably the first week of May. So for me, my whole playoff time, I was just kind of waiting to hear if he was going to get the job or not, if I was going to be able to join the staff.
Yeah.
So for me, this would have been like my first full spring recruiting, going to certain tournaments in the spring.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously for us, our season ended, and that was a big time for potential student athletes to come visit campus
Yeah.
for official or unofficial visits, and we didn't get that a chance to have those. But we were very fortunate enough to continue to recruit and get really good players to come join our mob.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what advice like would you give players right now? I know it's hard to have access to a gym. Maybe some people do, or have like a court, in their backyard or etc. But what advice would you give them trying to stay in shape? I know this is people's, like you said, trying to get recruited for AAU
hmm
and all that. But yeah, like what would you tell them during this time?
Um, you know, the biggest thing just for anybody is just to kind of stay sharp, mentally, physically, emotionally. This time that we have right now is rare that everybody kind of gets to have time to themselves and kind of focus on themselves and
Hmm.
kind of look in the mirror and just think about what you want for yourself moving forward. One of the things I kind of mentioned to our guys at some point last week was to write your goals down. No matter part of your sport or just part of life, write your goals down, visualize those things, and on a day-to-day basis, you'll start putting action toward those goals. Just kind of like little deposits. There's all types of information out there for student athletes to kind of stay on top of their game.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I would say is just like write your goals down and kind of visualize what it's going to take for you to reach your goals.
So I want to ask you about like overseas. How was that? Just playing professionally and getting that experience.
Yeah, so I played in two countries. I played in Finland, top division in Finland, which is considered like a mid tier um, pro league. There's a lot of really good players. It's kind of like a pro league that's a stepping stone to a bigger Euro League, Euro Cup, the bigger Chinese leagues. But the experience was great. I got to play with guys that I grew up playing against my whole life.
Mm.
Juwan Staten was one of them. He went to Dayton in West Virginia. Me and him just kind of always battled since we were 10 years old. So
Yeah.
to actually get to play with him, 15 years later as a pro, that was pretty fun. But being overseas, you just kind of, like I said, you kind of have a little bit more time to yourself to kind
Yeah.
of figure things out. You
Yeah.
know, you I got into cooking. I learned how to be a better chef.
Yeah.
Um, because really you probably have 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours a day scheduled out. You might have a practice or a lift in the morning and usually a practice in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Most European clubs do like a 2 a day schedule. So, in between time is just kind of, you can do what you want. So I just kind of, while I was pro, just focused on taking care of my body.
Yeah.
Um, got into some of my other, extracurricular activities like painting. I was lucky to live in Helsinki where there was a lot of art exhibits and museums, and I did a lot of exploring in those things. So
Mm.
overall, the experience for me was a great experience. I would say.
Yeah. So, are you like, was that like, how long ago was that? Last year? Are you like done playing and you pursuing coaching now?
Yeah, so I played the past not this past year, but the 2 years previous were the 2 years that I played pro. And I'm done. I'm officially retired for good. I'm on to the next phase, and the next phase is helping build, the Howard program with Coach Blakeney, the head coach, and assistant coaches Eric Atkins and Jake Brown. It's just great working with those guys day to day, and we have, like I said, we have some really good players that we're bringing back, and some really good players that we're bringing in. So whenever all of this stuff clears up and we're able to kind of put these pieces together, it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. And so I asked almost everybody this question in the interview. Since you're like a coach and you probably have a lot of like mentees or players that look up to you, if you had to pick one player, one person that you mentor, and you feel like maybe they're the next you or like walking in your shoes, who would that be? Who would that person be?
Um,
I know it's kind of tough, but
I would say just in general in my life, I would say my cousin, my little cousin Blake Francis, who plays basketball at Richmond University. He's going to be a senior this year. If he goes back to school, he did declare for the draft, and there's a bunch of question marks of what that means for a lot of guys, with how they'll be moving forward with that. But for me, he's been there my whole athletic journey as a young kid. So
yeah,
he saw me from when I was playing little league all the way through high school, through college, and he's a much better player than I ever was. And his drive, his focus, his determination is everything I've had times 100. So I try to deposit little things here and there into him, but I know he's always kind of watched me, and now it's just like his future is now. So to see he was a second team All A-10 this year, so for him to go out and accomplish that, and they didn't necessarily have a chance to compete for anything as far as A-10 championship or tournament run, but I would definitely say he would be the guy for me that I've kind of deposited little things over the course of my life into, and just to see him kind of blossom into his own life and his own man has been a great journey to watch.
and yeah. So, what other thoughts do you have about like this whole COVID-19 thing? Hoping it ends soon. But do you think like what's the plan in action? Do you think it's going to end like in June or it's going to be a while? Just what are your thoughts on like what's going to happen moving forward?
I don't necessarily know what's going to happen moving forward, because we're even still as a staff just trying to figure out like what it looks like for us moving forward and dealing with our guys. Like the biggest thing for us right now is just having our kids, new kids, old kids, guys that are returning, kind of mesh together and start to get to know each other, and start to reach out to each other and do things as much as possible virtually, within their school, because all our guys are, they're taking, I think, getting ready for exams next week. So, the school year is almost over, but, as long as everything kind of goes as planned, hopefully the school year, everything is back up and running going into next school year. So, the summer is definitely up in question, but for us, it's just kind of like, I don't know what it all is going to mean for us, right? It's just we're kind of going into it thinking everything will kind of be similar to what we think is going to be. But you kind of got to be prepared for the worst too, and kind of think, okay, well, maybe what if we don't have a season this year? What does that look like on the institutional level, athletic level? There are a lot of people that'll be impacted by, sports kind of run the world from little league all the way through the professional level. That's a source of entertainment for a lot of people, kids, adults alike. It's just, and for it to be kind of shut down for this long, we kind of see how important it's been keeping us entertained and, something kind of look forward to. So I hope, we can get things back to normal with, while everybody's kind of being safe. The safety of, people is the most important thing. And we'll be as cautious as we need to be, especially just from a school's perspective, athletic department's perspective, keeping everybody safe.
Yeah.